We told you about the incident which had befallen 17-year-old Chinese gymnast Sang Lan about 45 minutes before the beginning of the gymnastics competition when she suffered an accident during a practice vault. This is the Chinese national vault champion, and after the accident she was removed from the arena with precautions that certainly seem to indicate the possibility of a head or spinal trauma. We've been following the story at the Nassau County Medical Center all night, and right now Dr. Steve Salvatore is standing by there with new information. Dr. Salvatore, what can you tell us about 17-year-old Sang Lan?
Well, Jim, unfortunately, we've got bad news. Doctors have confirmed to us that she has suffered a fracture dislocation of her lower neck. Now, what that means is that her neck is broken through the 6th cervical vertebrae, and it is moved forward on the 7th cervical vertebrae, and that has caused damage to her spinal cord. She's paralyzed in her legs. She has weakness in her arms, can move her hands slightly, but she's stable with normal vital signs and breathing on her own, but not good news tonight.
When will we know, or when might we know, the full extent of her paralysis and a long-term prognosis, Dr. Salvatore?
Well, at this point, it's just too early to tell, according to doctors. Right now, she's undergoing some therapy to help minimize the swelling with high-dose medication, which have been proven to be effective at this early stages. But her next step from here is to move on to an MRI, where they get a better picture of the bones and how badly they're broken, how badly they're displaced. They're going to make a decision if whether or not she will need surgery. So really, it's very, very difficult to tell. But the early stages here are always the critical stages. So that's why they get this medication into her early, and we can only keep our fingers crossed for her at this point.
For what you're telling me, it's clear that her spinal cord was not severed. Is that significant?
Well, it's not so much that it's severed or not severed. What it is when you have this kind of an injury, you have impingement or damage to the spinal cord. So there is definite damage. The question now is, how severe is that the damage? And that's why they're getting more tests to get a better idea of the extent. So at this point, really, they're just going to have to wait and get more testing. They wouldn't tell us anything more on that.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Salvatore, for your work out there. A couple of more details before we leave the story. Right now, Goodwill Games officials are attempting through the Chinese Sports Federation to reach Sang Lan's parents in a town named Ningbo in China so that they can be apprised of the situation and flown into New York to be with their daughter. Also, we want to tell you that the video you saw at the beginning here after Sang Lan was shown being treated was not the video of the accident. We don't have that. We're told that there is an elite gymnastics coach there at the scene who has camcorder video of the accident, but she, the coach, refuses to release that video to television outlets, and I can't help observing about that. Great. Good for her. I'm not sure that there's any need for us to see exactly what happened. We'll be back with more of the Good